Hey everyone, I have my completed journal with me today. This is an Archer and Olive in the traveler size. So this is basically standard traveler's notebook size. And this year I have apparently been on the hunt and on a mission to get every single notebook in this size, like a thick notebook, which isn't very many. So I've had a lot of fun doing it, and I'm slowly working my way through each one. I've been just using them as a journal, an everyday journal. I do whatever I want in it. I don't really have a specific format or rules that I follow. And I'll show you a couple of pages that I have marked off. But as you can see, I actually started this July the 31st. So I feel like that July doesn't really count because it was literally just one day. But I went through all of August, all of September, and then the last day I journaled in this was October 19th, I believe. So that's actually a little bit long for me to be in a journal, but we had a lot of things that changed in our day-to-day life, and it caused me to not journal as often or as long as I usually do, which is totally fine. I mean, life happens, and this is supposed to be a reflection of my life as it is. So I've obviously decorated this. I usually label my journals with a journal number, and I go by year. So every year I start over. I'm currently on my 12th journal, and that's really going to take me to the end of this year. So in 2021, I'll start again with journal number 1. And as you can see, this has kind of seen better days, I suppose. One thing that I tend to do, if a notebook will allow it, is to cut away the spine, because it just allows for more expansion. And I tend to bulk up my journals with all kinds of things. So I like the fact that this was pretty easy to cut away. And then I kind of just, give it a little stretch, and it actually expanded quite nicely. I did tear out the pen loop. It was really easy to pull out. That's all I did. It wasn't anything special. I just yanked on it till it completely popped out, so no big deal. And then this comes with 2 bookmarks, which I removed. Once I tore the spine away, the bookmarks were literally just glued right here, and I could just peel them off very easily. So yeah, I've pretty much made this my own. It's so stained and kind of decrepit looking, but I don't know, I just use my stuff. The elastic closure though lasted. It made the cut. I didn't get rid of it. So the only reason that this really stayed on is because fairly quickly I took this out of a leather cover. I did not like how this fit in any of the covers that I had, and mostly that's just because the cover is so thick and rigid that it tends to stretch leather out pretty good, and I didn't want to do that. And I found that this was just sturdy enough to be on its own. It didn't really need a leather cover, and I didn't want to make one especially for this because I knew I wasn't going to journal in this notebook again. So I decided to just use it as is, and that's why it's all kind of grungy and stained and stuff like that. But everything stuck on here really well. These Dymo labels, they stuck so well. I had absolutely no issues with this, and the elastic would rub up against it every time I closed it. So these are really impressive. I did not expect them to last as well as they have, so bravo. All right, so let's get into this. As you can see, I just added some scrapbook paper to the inside page here. I think this is the way I break in any new notebook or planner. I always end up gluing some kind of end papers on, and then it just starts feeling like mine. I sort of broken the seal on it. And I used some watercolor and a water brush to just put my name right there. So one of the things that I got really into in here was to add full page spreads of just magazine clippings. I had a whole stack of magazine clippings that I've had for ages, This summery one was probably from 2 summers ago. So I really tapped into the things that were aging in my stash, and I really love how these turned out. And so I have a few pages like this. Obviously, this was in not so much July, but a lot of August, so it was pretty summery during that time. So I was using a lot of spreads like this. Like, I really love that. I was waiting to use this one forever, and then I thought, quit doing that, just use it. And past me would have thought that doing something like this would be really wasteful of the paper, but I guess more mature me says, screw it, I can do what I want. This is my notebook, and it's a representation of what I'm liking at the moment, what I feel like doing. So whatever, I threw caution to the wind and took up whole spreads like this. And I did that a lot. If there was space to write, I would write where I could, but I loved having these big, beautiful pieces, you know, like artwork in my journal. I don't draw or paint or anything like that. I don't know, I've never been drawn to it. I've attempted it many, many times, but I just can't find a rhythm with that kind of thing yet. It isn't something I'm writing off, but when I'm in my journal, I definitely gravitate towards writing the most. And when I add in decoration or ephemera, it's really nice to just have something big and impactful that I can just glue down like this. So another thing that I would do, instead of taking up a whole spread like this, I would put half of it here, fold it over, and glue it to the other side, and have it on the other side. And I don't know, it was just, I felt like doing it. It was really fun. And that's what I did here. I won't flip it because I didn't censor the other side, but this was half of it, and then I folded it over and put the other half and glued it on here. So yeah, and I have random stickers. This is from the Antiquarian sticker book, but you know, there's nothing really elaborate here, like I said. And oh, I loved this. I was saving this one forever as well, and I finally just put it down, used it up, and journaled up top here. Oh, and I loved this one as well, this green, and I tore the edges. I had green ink in one of my pens. This was Organic Studio Frog. So I wrote with that, and I just love how this page came together. It wasn't anything I planned. I don't do much planning as far as how my spreads are gonna look or anything like that, because I just write too fast to think that far ahead. But sometimes things come together in such a way that looks really cohesive. So I'll have spreads like this. And I also like continuing the pieces of ephemera onto another page. I like putting them in the creases for some reason. And okay, and so then I have pages like this. I didn't even finish writing on that page. And then over here, I was really brainstorming. I had a couple of covers that I wanted to make. And so this is the Hobonichi Weeks cover, which is this. So I was trying to lay out a plan for what it would look like. And so I have my pockets on this side, and it actually came together pretty much how I hoped it would. And then this, I was gonna make a zip cover, which I did end up making. It came out a lot differently than I thought, but yeah. So I have like random sketches here of things that I want to make. And it's usually just because this is always around me, near me. And if I'm going out of the house and I'm going somewhere where I know I might have some downtime, I will bring this with me. And that's when I just start brainstorming things. So to be completely fair, I do have tons of spreads that look like this. It is nothing but writing. I do have to censor everything because this is like a brain dump for me as well. So I do not censor myself in here, and I don't write in here or use this in any way knowing that it's for public viewing. So this is why I don't do full flip throughs of this, because it's just not for that. And the amount of editing and censoring I would have to do would just be obscene. But I just wanted to show you this is what my pages normally look like. I think most of the time they just look like writing and that's it. And when I fancy putting something fun down, then I will. But yeah, that's it. I said I wasn't going to use this anymore. Oh, in the back, I have like random pieces of things. Like my kids like to write me notes. And so I shoved them back there because I didn't stick them in, and it'll all just get archived together because it was all during this time. But I said I wasn't going to buy this again only because this paper is not good for what I'm wanting in a journal. I use fountain pens a ton. It's usually all that I write with when I'm writing in my journal. So I love experimenting with inks and all of the fountain pen ink qualities and things like that. And while this paper is super duper thick and is excellent for any types of paints and markers and stuff like that, I don't find it to be the best for fountain pens and really amping up those subtle qualities in the inks. So this isn't my favorite for the writing instruments that I like to use. I did get a second one when I originally placed this order, but I have since given that to my mom and she's thoroughly loving it. So I'm done with the Archer and Olive, and I have moved on now to this. I actually made this cover. I'll have everything linked below, but this is basically the same leather as the original Chic Sparrow in the buttered rum. And it's super duper nice. I've never actually owned a buttered rum, but I've always admired this leather. But right now I have the standard size notebook from Danica 58 on Etsy. And this is full of Cosmo Air Light paper. And I have a video about that. I'll link it below. But oh my gosh, this is the best paper I've ever used. And I've since cleaned and inked up a bunch of my pens. And I have never had so much fun in a notebook with my inks than I am right now. Like, I'm so speechless. I love it so much. And I feel like everything is just going to pale in comparison after using this. But yeah, so I'm currently in this. I'm going to make my way through this. And then I do want to use up a Soumkine notebook next. And then I can say for sure what I think of everything. But yeah, so that's my current setup. And yeah, I was happy to be in this. It was a really great experience. And yeah, I was definitely happy to be done with this by the end because I just really wanted something that would work so much better with my fountain pen inks. But anyway, that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye.